Good morning, everyone. Today in this video, I'll be going to explain you about the deployment process of client-end and front-end application. Uh, the meaning of client-end and front-end application is the front-end application which we are going to deploy is purely doing the client-side rendering. You can think the React because React does the client-side rendering, and we are only using the client-side rendering in React. We're not going to the server actions and all, right? So yeah. So let's understand how we deploy our client-side application. In previous video, I have already explained you what happens when we enter the URL over here in a rough way. So let's say whenever you'll enter your website URL, it will go to some server and give you back the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript file. This HTML, CSS, and JavaScript file will be same for every user who is requesting to our website. Let's say there's another user, he's also requesting, he will also get the same HTML, CSS, and JavaScript file. Since this file is same for everyone, so rather than using some server has compute, RAM, and memory, right? Everything it has. So rather than using this compute, we can store these files in some storage, right? So yeah, definitely we do this. We store our files in storage only. I'll be talking about some terms in by which AWS provides, like S3. The service AWS provides, like a CloudFront. This is also AWS provides. S3 is used for storage, and CloudFront is our CDN. So what we do is we will store this file in S3 bucket. This is my S3 bucket. We store HTML, CSS, and JavaScript file over here, and so here this will contain our file, and we map our domain name. So whenever you will upload the file, this S3 will give you a public URL, and when you will enter this public URL in your browser, you will be able to access that file. So after that, what we will do, we will map our domain name to this uh, public URL which S3 provides. So what happens is, now whenever anyone is requesting to your domain, then that request will come to this S3 bucket. But there's a one issue which comes. What is the issue? Let's discuss that. Let's say this is your world, and everyone is using your website in this world. This is a continent, right? Let's say your S3 bucket is in US. Now there's a one user in India who basically enters his browser and enters the URL. uh, then this request will go to your S3 bucket and will give you back the response, right? Now, since this is far from you, right? This is farthest you can say. So this will take a lot of time to process to get back your file, right? So to optimize this, we use CDNs. So what CDN does is, like AWS has a lot of CDN centers all over the world. Let's say here we have these CDNs. And here in our location also, we have these two CDNs. This dot is denoting the CDN. So now next time, whenever your website request for your web page, then this request will go to the CDN. Now CDN don't have your web page, then this CDN will request your S3 bucket. This S3 bucket will give the response. I mean, will give the file. Now see, this CDN will cache the file and will give you back the file. Now the CDN has cached your file, right? If again some other user in India requests that same website, this request will go to the CDN. Since the CDN has cached file over here, it will directly give you back the file rather than requesting to S3 bucket. So this is what happens. Now I'll just explain you what happens in terms of code. So whenever first you have to build your project. So whenever you'll run npm run build, this will basically give you mainly three files: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Now, this file you will put in S3, and this S3 will give you a public URL. Using this URL, you can access this file. Now, you will configure your CDN. In AWS, we call that CDN CloudFront. So, what you'll do is you'll go to CloudFront, you will put your public URL over here, right, in the CDN, and this CDN will give you the public CDN URL. So using this CDN URL, whenever you will enter this URL, you will be able to access these files using this public CDN URL. Now you will point your domain name to this CDN URL. So in this way, you will be able to, host your client-ended front-end application. I hope you have understand this thing. If you like this video, then do subscribe to my channel. See ya. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.